Hi everyone, Mike Levin here. It is Wednesday morning, May 4th, around 8:10 a.m. 2016, and today I will not be chasing any rabbits down rabbit holes. I lost 2 or 3 hours yesterday, right when I couldn't afford it, because I couldn't stand having to go to an Ubuntu virtual machine or a Macintosh in order to do my main everyday work, which in this case is executing SQL against Amazon Redshift through a JDBC driver connection. And that, as it turns out, is quite easy on Ubuntu or Mac, because when you use the repository tools to install things like Scicop G2, which is the, I guess, native Python driver for Postgres that's used with things like Python in place of the JDBC driver provided by Amazon, it doesn't install properly under Windows because of dependency chain stuff, and I've been struggling with that for probably on and off for a week, and I've decided to just change platforms to make it easy. But yesterday I had to do the next round of that work, and it really bugged me, and I've been getting more familiar with the Cygwin. I guess you would call it a repository. Cygwin is the way to get a very Unix-like environment on a Windows PC. And it's easy to think Cygwin has these very particular limitations until you realize whenever you run the Cygwin installer, it's a whole repository environment where you can go in and check off the things you want included, either the compiled binaries or right down to the source. I don't need the source, but I did things like install all the, with a hopeful attitude, having realized really how inclusive and well thought out the Cygwin repository is, like a Debian or I guess like a Brew repository. I installed all the developer tools for Postgres, which is supposed to give you the things you need so that you can then install Scicop G2, and it didn't. It always breaks at some point down the line, and I chase it and answer each error until I get to an error I can't fix. So that's not worth it right now. In the future I'll fix it, but right now it's not worth it. And so the lesson being, when you see that rabbit and you want to chase it down into the rabbit hole because you've got the need, you've got the motivation and energy to do it, be very careful. You might not have the time. And all you have to do is use your environment as your sort of reminder, your checklist to come back to it later. And in this case, that won't be a problem because this is going to bother me over and over until I fix it. So just grin and bear it until the time and the day and the prerequisite knowledge that I've just acquired along the way is sufficient to just knock it out without it being a rabbit hole task. It will be reduced from being a rabbit, chasing the rabbit down the hole, to being an 80-20 rule task. And they often are in time. It's all just a matter of how you order and prioritize your work. You find other ways to suit your needs or to satisfy your requirements in the very short term, especially when people are waiting on you. And then you find the better, more fundamental way to fix it in the longer term, without it being a large, intense effort when you can't afford it. So anyway, that's a word about the metaphor I always use about rabbit hole evaluations. You have to evaluate the work before you go chasing the rabbit down into the hole. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Hope to talk to you soon, and don't forget to subscribe.